Hey guys, Brian here from Rugged Altitude, and welcome back to another year of deer recoveries. This year, I'm going to try out a new format for these videos, so please let me know down in the comments if you guys enjoy these kind of videos or if you'd prefer to see a different format. We had our first deer recovery of the 2025 deer season on Sunday, and I want to give you some insights from what we gathered from the hunter and a very respectable dog tracker in the area. And obviously the locations and names of these individuals will not be disclosed, as this is meant to be more of a informational type video. So why don't we jump into the recovery. The hunter shot this buck on Saturday morning at around 9:30 a.m., approximately where the S is at on the map. It was about a 40-yard broadside shot, and the hunter was approximately 12 feet above the deer. The shot was a complete pass-through. The hunter mentioned that after the shot, the deer jumped into a thicket for about 20 yards and then went back into a wooded area. The hunter waited approximately 3 hours before searching for the deer, and when they began searching, they ran into dark red blood, thinking it was a liver hit. The red line on the map outlines the projected blood trail, and where it ends is where they suspected to have jumped the buck. After they jumped the deer, they backed out and had a dog tracker come out Sunday morning, so about 24 hours later, to search the area. But the dog was having a hard time picking up the blood trail, and with the hot temperatures, the dog was also overheating. So the dog tracker called me and asked if I would be willing to look for it. So I started to gather my things at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and we got there just a little after 2. After conversations with the hunter and the dog tracker, and just having the conversations with like what the dog tracker saw as well, he believed that it was also liver, just based off the dark blood. I was also informed that in a previous year they found a dead buck where the green X is located on the map. So with the information I have, and I don't have a trail cam photo to go off of this buck or anything, I believe I'm looking for obviously a liver shot deer that would either be in the cornfield, near the creek, or near the green X. And knowing that if it was a liver shot buck, it's obviously lethal, and the lethally hit deer is not going to go up these hills where I was searching at. So my search area was quite small with the information that I did have. So the hunter did mention that he believed it was either an 8 or 10 pointer and was decently wide. This was actually going to be his first bow buck, so the adrenaline was pretty high. He couldn't recall all of the details. Obviously it happened so fast, so but at least I kind of have an understanding of kind of what I'm searching for. So since I was out there in the middle of a sunny day, the thermals were not the greatest, as you can see by this example. You can see two does pretty well in the shaded area of the cornfield, but there's also another deer not too far away from these two that is harder to pick out. So I packed up and decided I would come back once again in the afternoon, just so I could make sure I felt 100% confident in the results that I was giving this hunter. Once I got back out there about 6:30, I launched the drone and spotted two does right away, but the next deer I saw was a pretty good bedded buck that was bedded down near the creek. I looked at it for a while, but the deer was not acting like a lethally hit deer, as the ears, they weren't drooping. It seemed pretty alert. So I continued searching into the cornfield, but no luck. So I shifted my focus to that valley where that red X or that green X was at, to see if, maybe it made it up there, where the previous deer have died in the past. So I searched that, and I did find a deer that was bedded in a really thick area. It was actually so thick I couldn't really make it out what it was. I just happened to get an angle and I seen it was a buck, but I couldn't really tell like how big it was. So I pinned the location of that deer, and I figured I would circle back to it. Hopefully it got up and I'd be able to make out what it was. So I just continued searching. And then after a while I went back to that buck that was underneath that thicket, and I was able to make out like it was a good buck, but it was not a wounded deer at all. It got up, it was walking around just fine. It was with another small little buck, completely fine. So then I continued searching. I went down to the creek, searched more of that. I went quite a ways, and I was just not having any luck. So then I went back to that first buck that I originally saw near the creek, and at that time he then stood up. I was able to kind of maneuver the drone to get different angles on him, and after looking at him for a while, I noticed that he was actually shot in the front, kind of like in the neck area, but in front of the shoulder, so in that area. And then I could only see it on the one side, so then I tried to get the drone to the other side to get another look, because obviously you got a complete pass-through, so I want to see if there was another hole on the other side. So I got the drone on the other side of him, and I was able to confirm that there was another hole there. So I'm assuming this was his buck. Obviously a little disappointing because it's not a dead deer. But at least we were able to give the hunter some peace of mind. I'm not sure, I did not get to lay eyes on the blood that the dog tracker and they were seeing, so I don't really know if it was actually dark blood like they had stated, but at that point, by the time the dog tracker got out there, the blood was dry, so it could have looked darker because of that, but that had to have been the deer. There was nobody else hunting the property, and it fits the description of what he was describing to me. At least the best that he could with the adrenaline that was going through him. So yeah, so that's how the first recovery of the 2025 season went. Again, let me know down in the comments how you guys liked this video, if you thought it was helpful. All situations are different with each deer, so there's no set rule book, but if it is a lethally hit deer, I'm lucky enough to be in hill country where it limits the deer from going uphill, so it really helps me out that way. So, but I do have to deal with a lot of tree canopy cover, and it takes a long time to search early season. So, but again, let me know down in the comments if you guys enjoyed this. If you guys prefer to see a different format, let me know. I'm open to feedback. So thanks again, guys. Peace.